Okay, so here on number 3, we have fractions again. So what are we going to do with fractions? So fractions with an equal sign. Fractions with an equal sign. So what do we do with fractions with an equal sign? So step number 1 is you multiply all the terms left and right by the LCD over 1, and the LCD equals 1 of each denominator type multiplied together. No repeats. All right, so okay, so what do I mean? So I'm taking aim at those two guys. You guys with me? The 5 and the 15. The 5 and the 15 are the two denominator pieces. So I need to take aim at the 5 and the 15 because that's what I need to get rid of. That's what we don't like. That's the part that's irritating us, right? That's the fractional part. If I can get rid of this 5 and get rid of this 15, then I won't have fractions anymore. So that's what you take aim at. You multiply and you use both of those. You multiply through them by that. So I'm going to go 5 times 15 over 1. Same thing here. 5 times 15. It looks like it's not a decimal. It's 5 times 15 over 1. Same thing here. 5 times 15 over 1. And then the same thing here. 5 times 15 over 1. Does that make sense? I multiplied all 4 terms. You got to do equal treatment, right? All the terms on the left, all the terms on the right, they all get the same thing, 5 times 15 over 1. Now, some of you guys probably have more experience with denominators. You might say, Mr. Aaron, 5 goes into 15. Can't I just use 15? You're right. You're totally right. And that will save you some time and make it easier. That would be better, is to just use the 15. You're right. 15 is technically the lowest common denominator. But I found that's hard for students in the past to have another thing to think about. If you already know that, great, you do it. You'll save some time and effort. But I found it's easier. It'll work. Just use them both. So I'm just going to say, well, don't worry about it. Just use them both. I'm just going to use 5 and 15 both. That'll work too. All right. So here we go. What's step number 2? Cross cancel the denominators and multiply whatever is left over. So we're going to cross cancel. So I'm going to go 5 and 5. Cross cancel. What's left over? 15 and negative 4. That's what? You should calculate if you need to. Negative 60 and x. Don't forget the x. Did you follow that? We cross cancel. Cross cancel means top to bottom, doesn't it? Top to bottom, diagonally. Cross cancel. Multiply what's left over. So 15 and negative 4 and x. That's negative 60x. Now, what happens here? Here, they're just going to multiply. In fact, I wouldn't even bother to put this, whoops, messed up. Don't even bother to put that over 1. Same thing here. Why not? Well, because I keep messing up. They're not fractions. 8 and 9 are not fractions. So you don't need the over 1 thing. So what do you say, Mr. Aaron? Oh, you just multiply. There's nothing to cross cancel. There's no denominator. Let me pause for a second and let that sink in. We cross cancel denominators, right? Cross cancel denominators. There's no denominator. Don't cancel that. He's not a denominator. He's not under a bar. Well, then what do? You just multiply. 5, 15, and 8. Now I'm going to need my calculator. It's going to be big. I'm getting 600. And it's minus 600. Same thing here. Just multiply these guys. There's no denominators. I'm getting 675 minus. Now here there is. 15 cancels 15. Multiply the 5, the x, and the other 5. That's 25x. How are we doing? Do you see what happened there? So I cross-canceled denominators and I multiplied everything that was left over. So I cross-canceled the 5s here, multiplied what's left over. And these guys were pure multiplication because there was no cross-canceling. There was nothing under a bar. There was no denominators for those guys. It was just pure multiplication on the calculator. Oh, I forgot the negative sign, didn't I? Be careful. Don't do what I did. Don't forget that negative sign. And then back over here, these 15s cross-canceled. Multiply what's left over. 5 times 5 times x, 25x. All right. Now, what do we do from here? Now, from here, we have x's on opposite sides. Remember that? Let me do step 3. X's, we did a lot of that last week. X's on opposite sides. What do you do with x's on opposite sides? Do the opposite of either one. Of either one, same to both sides, right? So I'm going to come in, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go plus 25x. That's the opposite of minus 25x. And whatever you do to one side, you've got to do the same to the other. You have no choice. Boom, boom, right? So when you have x's on opposite sides, let me draw that right there. These guys. X on opposite sides. So when you have x on opposite sides, you've got to do the opposite of one. Could you have done plus 60x to be the opposite of minus 60x? Sure, that would have worked great too. As long as you do the same thing to both sides, it doesn't matter. All right, and so what will become of it? Like what's right here? Just use your calculator. Minus 60 plus 25 be minus 35x. Bring down the minus 600 equals, bring down the minus, don't forget that minus that I forgot at first, 605. And these guys are gone. And then from here it's cake. X and on be loan. All right, you're gonna get what you want. Gonna get you a loan. Add the 600 to both sides like that. Boom and a boom. And here we get minus 75, right? And last step here, divide by minus 35, boom and a boom. X equals. Okay, so how do we what do we do there? Now remember with fractions, if the bottom number will divide, sorry, I messed up there. If the bottom number will divide into the top, great, do it. But 35 doesn't go in, you try in your calculator. 75 divided by 35 is some decimal thing. So then instead, if it won't go in clean, then you just divide by whatever you can divide by. You can divide by 5 top and bottom. So you get minus, what's that, 15 over 7. No, plus, 2 minuses, make a plus. Right, yeah, you okay with the dividing here? Whenever we divide, the last step we divide by the identical twin, identically whatever's in front of x. So we had a minus 35 in front of x, I divided by minus 35 on both sides, 2 minuses made a plus, and then reduce the fraction, divide top and bottom by 5.